Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Thakar and I'm a board member on the Water Watchers and a University of Guelph student. As you are aware, today is World Water Day, and in a rapidly changing climate, we are witnessing the detrimental effects caused by the commodification of water. Water is for life, it is a life-sustaining source, and most importantly, water is a human right for all, not the 1%, not for white communities only, everyone. As a bit of background, here in the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of Credit First Nation and Six Nations, Blue Triton has been permitted by the Ontario government to steal 3.6 million liters of water per day from the Arkell Spring ground aquifer. Simultaneously, 92% of Six Nations members do not have access to clean drinking water. The colonistic ties between the Ontario government and predatory water companies like Blue Triton are impossible to ignore. This is a clear example of how in a rapidly changing climate, the rights of Indigenous folk are disregarded for capital interests. This is a clear example of how the commodification of water further marginalizes BIPOC individuals. The Water Watchers are committed to advocating against Blue Triton, which is illegally occupying on Six Nations land, exploiting groundwater resources, and mass producing plastic pollution, which is contributing to the climate crisis. We want to make it clear that Blue Triton does not have our best interests in mind. Blue Triton has publicly stated that it believes the water crisis in Six Nations is a federal government issue, not an issue that Blue Triton should respond to, even though it is illegally on Six Nations land. However, at the same time, Blue Triton promises that it focuses on building community relationships, but somehow Six Nations is not a part of this community. The Water Watchers are currently focusing on understanding the corporate structure of Blue Triton and its partnerships. Additionally, we are committed to shedding light on the lack of groundwater inventory research within this area and around Canada. With no standardized groundwater level inventory system or in-depth research on local wetlands, our area is a black box for understanding the effects of Blue Triton's water takings. Yet, they are still permitted to take 3.6 million liters of water per day in this drought-stricken area. I end with this. In our world where water is becoming increasingly commodified, we lose community and traditional knowledge of local water resources to predatory water companies. Municipalities are outbid by companies like Blue Triton in the chase for water under a rapidly changing climate and sold back to these municipalities in plastic water bottles. We truly want to adapt to climate change. We truly want to build sustainable water infrastructure. We want to protect our wetlands and groundwater resources based on plentiful local scientific and traditional knowledge. And if we want to truly end the Indigenous water crisis, then we will stop the commodification of water in its tracks. We will respect land back efforts for communities like Six Nations. We will build water infrastructure that makes decisions based off local traditional and scientific knowledge. And we will end plastic water bottle permitting for good. Not by 2050, not by 2040, and not by 2030. Now. And if we don't, well, this just becomes another news headline. Another, oh, I hate people moment, because we all know it's a tragedy what Nestle and Blue Triton have done to these lands. I'm speaking to the NDP party when I say this. Don't let this become just another headline. I'm saying this as a POC, but also as a settler. We have an obligation as settlers to uplift Indigenous voices in every part of our lives, all spaces, because this is not an issue that you can just turn your head to. This is life or death. And by accepting the actions of companies like Nestle and Blue Triton, you are accepting that marginalized communities facing dire situations like water shortages is okay. Silence is complacency. Every minute wasted on debating is another minute where a Six Nations resident has to worry about their next water choice. Please understand the urgency. On this World Water Day, celebrate water as life. But along with your celebration, direct your energy towards the colonistic structures running water infrastructure in so-called Ontario. Uplift grassroots efforts because these communities have the local knowledge necessary to understand the cultural, scientific, and economic importance of such local water resources, which is something that Blue Triton can never understand nor respect. With love and anger, let's include everyone on World Water Day. Thank you.